A one, two, three. Hi, welcome to Mac's channel. So, previous video we talked about the new unboxing of the Ryzen processor. Because obviously we've got a new processor, we got a new motherboard, which I'm going to do now, and RAM, which I'll be doing very soon too. And it's all because, well, me and the wife use the computer for YouTube video rendering. I do games on it too, so I need it to be better than previous motherboard. Previous motherboard being this old gigabyte motherboard with a FX 8350 processor on it. It wasn't exactly the best processors when it came out. It wasn't exactly the worst processors either, but it's really showing its age with rendering speed. In fact, I realized the other day on Cinebench 64-bit with Windows 10, it only had 200 points more than an old i7 on the laptop. Yeah, I know. Now, paired up with 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, which is a shame really because the new motherboard would have been fine with that. But anyway, replacing the old motherboard. I'm not going to chuck it because someone might end up buying it if it still works with me, just sticking my fingers on it. USB 3 doesn't work particularly well on it, neither has it got much of it. But anyway, so the new motherboard. I feel sorry for my credit card, and you understand why. So, new motherboard, the Corsair VI Hero. It is the X370 chipset on it, and this basically means it's better than the 350. You can overclock with it. The motherboard which I just showed you, the gigabyte one, couldn't overclock because it didn't have the power phases to handle it. It was pathetic overclocking. I think there was about 150 megahertz, and that was questionable reliability. So, with this lovely motherboard here, so it's obviously designed for AM4 processors, so old Ryzens, the 3, 5 and 7. Why does that ring a bell? i3, i5, i7? AMD, did you nick that name from Intel by any chance? Don't mind, because at least I understand what they're on about. Plus they also came up with 1700, and then you have an 1800, and at some point they'll upgrade it. So they nicked the number system from NVIDIA, and the processor numbering, series numbering from Intel. Why not? So, printing friendly 3D. I don't know why I'm coming straight to that, but yes, you can download and print out parts for the motherboard. Not circuitry, but plastic shrouding. Basically, it was their way of saying, we just can't be bothered giving you these plastic pieces. Chances are you're not going to use it, and if you do use it, you've got a 3D printer, because you're going to do awesome builds with this thing. It has Aura Sync LED RGB lighting system. More on that one in a minute, because the motherboard itself has lighting, and then you can plug on X2 strips on it. It is Crossfire ready and SOI. Well, I'm an NVIDIA person, so even if I was to have the money, thanks to the Bitcoin scenario, I probably wouldn't buy another 1070 Ti. 1070? Yeah, 1070. So, anyway, enough of the front of the box. Side of the box, nothing interesting. Other side of the box, small print stuff. Front side of the box. So what is on this side? Serial numbers, English. This talks about the sound and stuff like that. Anyway, back of the box, probably more useful. So, I don't think you want me to read it all. What I'll do is I'll do a link. No. We will talk about it. Sorry. So, this motherboard has the new 3.1 front header for motherboard for cases which happen to have these particular cables. Mine doesn't, it's be quiet. It's lucky that it has USB 3 and it's only got 2 of these ports on it, so yeah. The Aura LED sync, so basically it has LED light in there and there. but also has a header up there and another header down there somewhere. It has a new Supreme FX codec. I'm glad they've said FX Supreme, but on the technical datas, it's still one of those real tech chips. I'll stick to my creative Z card, thanks. It has 3D printer friendly mount points. Yes, you can put a shroud over the 24-pin cable to hide it. Woo! Right, so back panel ports. I will read it because it's actually quite interesting. It's got a clear Chromus button, BIOS flashback button. I'm not going to read the other one because it's not applicable for this one. This motherboard does not have a Wi-Fi section on it. There is a Wi-Fi ready board version of this one, which actually has the areas, but don't need it because, you know, don't need it. It's got two USB 3.1 ports on the back, one Type C and one Type A. It's got 8 USB 3 ports on it. Well, you can't go wrong with that. It's got 4 USB 2 ports on it. I think the only reason for that is because of reliability issue. USB 3 is still a little bit too experimental for my taste. It's got a anti-surge LAN RJ45 port, optical SPDIF out, and 5 gold-plated audio jacks. So, CPU Ryzen 7 generation blah blah blah, chipset X370 chipset, memory, dual channel memory architecture, AMD Ryzen processors, 64GB maximum. So there is a little bit of an interesting one when it comes to the speeds of the RAM. Ryzen processors are, well, all motherboards are quite iffy with the compatibility with RAM. Reminds me of the good old days with AMD Athlon processors. But basically, 4 DIMM Max, 64GB DDR4. Now there is 2 sections behind this one. 266, 433 MHz, non-ECC unbuffered memory. I haven't got a clue what on earth they're on about there. But there is another set of specifications on here which, you know, it's just, no. Anyway, basically, if you buy this motherboard, check the compatibility of your RAM with it. It is a bit of a technical problem behind the Ryzen processors and RAM at the moment with compatibilities. But the great thing is this is such a good motherboard, and there has been a whole bunch of BIOS updates for it. You know, you're bound to get past the problem at some point. Expansion slots. So we have 2 times PCIe 3. Now, my previous motherboard with a PCIe 3 graphic card, being the 1070, only had PCI Express 2 to deal with. Hence the reason it also had a bottleneck on the GPU side. But this one here, if you got a 1070, this will use the maximum capability out of it. So it has reinforced slots here, and supports, well, 16 times speed if you're using one card, or 2 times 8 if you're using both. It's using 1 PCI Express, supports a block. So it's got a PCI Express 2.0 at 16 times speed and 3 times PCI Express 2 at 1 times speed. So basically it's all these other little slots. Basically, I mean, I've only got 2 things which are going to get plugged in, the graphic card and the sound card. Most people ain't even going to have that. So all the other specifications of the other things are pretty much irrelevant. Besides, some of the bottom one gets shared with the 370 bridge controller at the bottom. That's basically what it's saying. The PCI Expresses are paired with the main processor. That's basically what it is. I mean, the new processors are given a lot more, well, how do you put it, PCI Express lanes, but still not enough. So there's a little bit of a funny one behind that one. Multi-GPU technology, so you can have 2 NVIDIA ones and 2 Crossfires. NVIDIA stopped the support, I think, is it for 3 GPUs maximum? Or have they even scrapped that one? I think they only do really 2. Right, so USB We have a extra 3.1 front panel connector, 2 USB 3.1 ports, 1 Type C, 1 A on the back panel, 10 USB 3 ports, 2 ports at midboard, 8 at back panel, 6 USB 2.0 ports, 2 at midboard, 4 ports on back panel, LAN being that anti-surge, Intel, Ethernet controller, blah blah blah. Storage. Now, the storage on this board, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. This one can only do one M.2 slot at the bottom. Now, a lot of the Republic of Gamers only have the one slot, but it's not really that much of a problem because it's got 8 SATA slots on it. So you got one M.2 socket 3 with M key, type 2242, 2260, 2280 and 22110. I can only assume that's limps, but that's classified as PCIe Express 3.0 times 4. SATA modules, blah blah blah. Anyway, so it's got 8 SATA 6 gigabit ports. That's fine. You're never going to really run out. And if you do, you've got multiple PCI card slots you can use. Anyway, better not drag this out too much. The HD audio is Republic of Gamers FX S1220 codec. It's got high definition DAC, blah blah blah. It's got impedance sense for front and rear headphone outputs, 120 dB stereo playback, and 113 SNR recording input. Sonic Studio 3 and Sonic Radar 3. Whatever. Form factor, ATX form factor 12 by 9.60 in centimeters, 30.5 by 24.4. Right, now that was basically that. Oh, coupon inside, get 20% off cable mod cables with your purchase of an Asus motherboard. Right, so that's enough of that technical stuff. Let's get inside the box. Right. So, you're automatically greeted with this pornography. I call it pornography. Welcome to the Republic. Now, this is not the first time I've had one of the Republic of Gamers devices. I actually had a laptop from the Republic, and I've only just recently got rid of it after 9 years of service. Awesome machine that was. So, get rid of that plastic thing. You can tell here, once I open this box up a little bit more, we have the motherboard itself. AM4 processor, AM4 cooler, but this one can take the AM3 coolers on it if need be. It has a dual hole setup. South bridge, or the X370 chipset, 4 RAM slots. You happen to have the debug light at the top. It's basically debug counter light. It's quite useful for that. 24 power connector. I will point out, and I had to check this one up if this is actually possible. My motherboard has got 2x4 for motherboard power connector at the top, but also has an extra 4. So it has 8 pin plus a 4. The 4 is only used if you're doing heavy overclocking, but considering, I mean, the main processor is only 65 watts TDP from start, so the old processor only used a 4-pin connector, and that had a TDP of 125 watts, so I can't see really any problems with this running with an 8-pin. So we'll run it with an 8-pin for now. This here being reinforced, this is reinforced, and these just being nilly-nally. So, at the top there's a whole bunch of fan controllers, and right down here is the RGB LED header, the 24-pin motherboard power connector, plus multimeter points from voltage checking. The 3.1 front case fan there. There's a whole bunch of water cooling ones down at the bottom. We have a typical the USB 3.0 connector at the bottom. We have on the bottom here a start button, which I think is really snazzy with a plastic shroud behind it, and then there's a whole bunch of things for the BIOS settings and stuff like that. Other little stuff which involves water flow temperatures and flow rates and anything to do with water cooling basically. This thing has got a lot of it. I believe there's like 6 fan controllers or something like that or more. Right, enough of that in the box. Right, let's be really gentle with this one. Let's get you out of the box. Right, so when you get the box, you have the tray, and then you have stuff underneath it. So, Join the Republic. Is that a coaster? Yes, quite literally, they gave me a coaster. The choice of champions. Join the Republic. Yes, a coaster. It's awesome. I'll put my Monster Energy drink on the turret. Why not? Right, so we have a CD with drivers and a sticker. Republic of Gamers sticker. Looks like it's in the shape of the Superman there. Yes, we have that. We have stickers. Now, if you wonder what these are, you can fold them in half. And what is if you do counting there, yeah. Cable labels. Yeah, that there is for SATA drive cables, I believe. There is, it's going to be a typical safety information piece of paper. Custom cables. If you happen to be the kind of person who needs custom cables, however, I don't. The only reason is because I'm using the XFX power supply, which doesn't have modular power cables. Otherwise I would have upgraded it. We have a Asus warranty information form for European countries. Ooh, that solid piece of cardboard, I will point out. We have another manual motherboard layout sheet, which, you know, is going to be useful. And we have, what the hell is this? We have a manual guide. How to put RAM in. Well, generally speaking, if you bought this motherboard and you don't know how to install RAM, go to shop and buy a computer. Or really do a lot of research on YouTube. Lots of it. So we have here in this packet, I think that here is a extension cable for the RGB lighting, which I don't need at the moment, which is nice. We have got, oh yeah, Asus loves doing this, and what this is basically you get your power cable buttons and your hard drive activity and stuff like that, and power LED. You put on these things here and you just slot it into the motherboard just to make it easy. We have 2 little screws, can't see that. Yeah, 2 little screws, and that's for the 3D mounting stuff. We have got an SLI bridge, solid material, does look nice actually. 2 seconds, I'm sure I can whack this out of the box. Yes, SLI bridge, I forget right way around. Solid material, which is fine if you happen to use 2. We have 2 sets of black SATA cables, and they are the clip ones, so they don't fall out particularly easy. I've been actually wanting some more of these. And another set of them. And some more, oh wait a minute, these, yeah. These here are the 3D mounting screws. The other screws I showed you, do apologise, were the, what do you call it, the M.2 mounting material. Right, next one. This here is the back panel plate. And it's a soft EMI material there, no metal tabs to cut your fingers on, which is good. Ooh. And to end off it, a sticker shard. Yes, a sticker shard. Let's get on to that one. Just because. Right, so I had to do a little cut there for a second. So we have a sticker chart here. Do not disturb, yes, for teenagers. We have Republic of Gamers, the Choice of Champions. It is a lot of stickers. The weirdest one of all is the passport and the credit card sticker. I mean, honestly, credit card sticker. I can understand, you know, Republic of Gamers, which one would I pick? I'd pick that one there, the Asus, just make that one. Credit card, that's like having that Batman credit card. That, however, would be quite cool. So, anything else in this massive box? No. I do like this design off the box, you know, how that flip out thing that holds the box open, strangely, for some weird reason. So, that is that. So, 2 sets of, so that's 4 SATA cables. 4 SATA cables. Or LED extension cable. The SLI bridge. This is the extras. Just to point out one. Off you go. The backplate, which is black on the back. It does have 2 holes for the Wi-Fi, but we're not going to be using them, so I'm not particularly bothered. It's just 2 extra holes for dust to collect. That little connector thing, but whether I'll actually use it or not, maybe not. The 3D mountain screws. The M.2 screw thing, tiny screws, tiny little things. The guide, which might be useful for many things other than BIOS, but everything else not really. Unless of course you're doing water installations and you need to know exactly which header does what. There is a lot of sensors on here. And the stickers. The warranty. Motherboard layout is probably the only thing I'll probably use from this whole lot here. Driver CD, yes, but I have already downloaded up-to-date drivers from their website that is only about a month and a half old. I highly doubt this disc is that up-to-date. It wouldn't surprise me if this has been shipped and been hanging around for a little while. So, that is that. Some kind of fashion. Fashion. Yeah, that will do. Right, let's have another look at this motherboard. So, we go. So, black PVC. There's a whole bunch of screws. So here's the back of it. What's that sticker? Asus Tech. I'm not even going to attempt to try and read some of that there. Asus Computer Corporation, wherever that happens to be. I'm sure they know where it is. So, motherboard itself. That here is metal. This is a nice polished plate, and I do believe this has one of these peel off anti-scratch protectors, as they like to call it. And it does. It has an anti-scratch protector there. Right. So, like I mentioned, start button, reset, safe boot being a red one, and retry button being a white one. That switch does something. Not 100% sure from memory what it does. BIOS battery, typical. Supreme FX has got a metal plate around it. I do believe these are meant to be niche Chemicon capacitors. In other words, decent brand capacitors. Plastic shrouding over here. Metal cooling here and here for the power delivery, which is substantially more for 65 watt processors, than my old 125 watt one. Doesn't make any sense. Top here, debug light, fan sensors, and all of this motherboard just weighs and feels as nice. Now, for the ones who want to know, that there is the I/O at the back. Sound, network, USB 3.1 and 3, USB 3s, USB 2s, more USB 3s. I do believe not all of them run off the main processor. I'm sure something runs off the 370 chipset. But never mind. What we got else? That's pretty much it. So reinforced metaled PCI Express 3s, and yeah, M.2. All of your SATA connectors are front facing like that. None of these are facing out, but it's that way. At least then you can tidy up the cable ports nicely. I do have a whole bunch of hard drives in the computer which need connecting up, but yes. Quite wise, it's good. I can't complain. I am, however, surprised about one thing. This was not in a anti-static bag. Must not be as worried as you used to be with motherboards. But yes, I have, before anyone asks, I have been touching my case, and even so the power supply is not connected to a motherboard anymore because it's not in there anymore. It is at least still going to shield it to some certain degree. And I can't still number fingers from staticity on it. Staticity? Staticity? Is that even a word? So yes, that there is the Asus Crosshair VI Hero motherboard for you. So if you like this video, do like and subscribe. I have got RAM coming up next, and then maybe a PC build, depending on if I can get this room sorted out in such a fashion that it's worth recording. Otherwise it'd be pretty much a waste of time. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Cheerio.